And you just listened to a young girl who was saying that the Nigerian community here is totally very angry. It covers all those aspects affecting the various techniques of our team. Beth was the Ijaw country of the Niger Delta of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He went to several schools. His major academic genesis was at the government college, Ujeli. And
go gather, destroy their food. With the camp and that other camp, some more camp. You don't compensate everybody.
In its key generation sometimes. Today our focus will be on the style of J.P. Clark, a poet and writer, and we shall also be very interested in his poem Akbo Dancer. Good day and welcome to People, Places and Events. In today's program we shall be meeting a researcher on snails, and she's going to be telling us all it takes to grow snails and what it takes to understand this very wonderful mini livestock.
I'm called Lum Ndenecho and I'm a PhD student at the University of Mbongaya, and I'm working on a project on snails. Actually, I want to do the reproductive biology of snails and particularly of the species Achachatina achachatina.
And I shall be letting you know the biggest of predators of snails. Interestingly, they are very small animals.
Apart from, actually, you need to have a trough that contains water and another trough that has that we feed them in. Why? It's for proper management and easy cleanliness, because now that this is all on the floor, it will take time for me to clean that up. And also attracts ants, which is one of their greatest predators.
Ants, eh?
Yes, ants.
You also need to know snails grow on the soil, they lay their eggs in the soil, and therefore their soil needs to be managed.
And to make sure that the soil is okay, what we do is that we till it once a month. And we have earthworms are very good to have inside your cage. What it does is that it eats up the slime and the feces and the dirt that is inside their own hizaka.
Snails estivate under heat, and they also have a kind of degenerative influence on their growth with overexposure to light.
You can see that the house is covered with zinc sheets, and this is what we use to shade off the sun.
They don't like the sun?
Yes, because when it's too hot, it causes them to estivate. Estivation means that they go to sleep, and by the virtue of the fact that they are all hanging up here like this, they show that they are healthy snails. They climb. They climb, yes. Snails normally, when it's not mulch, means that there are no mulching materials like banana leaves on the floor. What they do is that they climb to form a shade to cool off. And when they do that,
why do they cool off in groups?
Actually, it's not that they cool off in groups, it's just that they have enough space to actually keep themselves cool. They come up to keep themselves cool, and if the area is small, it's not wide enough, they now pack themselves. If it was wide enough, they would not do that. And you see the cage is being adapted again because it was all transparent all around. You can see the back part of it. Wow. But you see that transparency was allowing too much light to get in during the day, and that also causes them not to grow, because they are active and they eat more when it is dark. And so when it is light, they tend to go to sleep.
Okay. Yeah. There are different stages in the life of snails: when they are born, when they grow, and when they become adults.
And
these are the baby snails.
Yes.
And so whenever there is reproduction, you bring all the baby snails to this cage.
After they are hatched, I collect them and then I bring them here.
And they stay in this cage for
3 months maximum.
When they become 3 months, how are they called?
They are called growers.
Now, what are they called?
They are called hatchlings.
And after, let's say, growers, the growing stage,
they are called breeders. That's where we just left.
Oh, okay.
These are the breeders.
Okay.
They're older than, because I range my own from 3 months, another 6 months, and then 9 months.
So, what are their sexual habits? Do they rape?
No, they do not rape, because to actually reproduce, each snail, when it is mature, searches out for its partner. Please, I don't have to do. They search out to look for a partner that is of equal strength and the same breed. And when you are stocking snails, you make sure that they are of the same farm. For example, if I go to, say, the farm A, I collect snails there. I cannot go to farm B and collect snails and bring them together for them to reproduce. Not that they cannot reproduce, but it's going to take a long time for them to understand themselves to reproduce. And if you bring them from different ecological zones, they also react the same way. For example, if you bring them from the north and you bring them from the south and you put them together, they are going to take time to understand themselves to breed, and they might not even eventually do that. So what you do is that you quarantine them for some time, meaning that you're going to see if they are going to have disease, some are going to die off, then you bring them together. And when they begin to lay, you now take the eggs of these snails from the wild, and now you can put them together. They'll be able to live well.
When they are sick,
generally hermaphrodites.
Okay.
So each can produce eggs, but they do not self-fertilize themselves. They don't undergo self-fertilization. So if you keep a snail alone and it lays, that egg is not fertile. It must cross with another one. The male part is crossed into the other one, and so the sperm or whatever it's called, it transmits.
What temperature should the eggs that they lay? What temperature is needed?
Actually, I've not done some experiments on that, but I know that it must be a moist area, so it's cool.
And it must take between how many days?
It takes about 21 to 23 days to hatch, and when they mate, it takes from the mating time to when they lay about 33 days to do that.
Thank you very much for tuning in on to people, places and events. And it is already demonstrative that snails are a vital ingredient in the livelihood strategies of Cameroonians, because it is going to be very strategic as to the replacement, the possible replacement of red meat that is very expensive. It also impacts on conservation, as it's also going to impact on the number of people who depend on wild animals for food. It is therefore a mini livestock, but an important mini livestock in the 21st century disposition in Cameroon, in Africa, and possibly the world, as important organizations like HIFA, Agromisa, and even the HIPIC initiative are now interested in the farming of snails. It has been Arrey Ivo for people, places and events.
Other captains, some don't compensate everybody.
In its degeneration sometimes. Today our focus will be on the style of J.P. Clark, a poet and writer, and we shall also be very interested in his poem Akbo Dancer.
Some lives are meaningful, some are empty. There are the lives that are eventful, with too much meaning and riches to offer humankind. Long after some of these earthly adventures and no more, one can still find footprints of these great lives on the pavements of our contemporary lives.
Good evening, you're welcome to the program Green Planet.